Did it switch yours at all? No? Oh my gosh, we can double record. Yes, yes. Okay. Sweet deal. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and get started just because I don't want to hold you guys up, as I know it is either later on in the evening. Oh, wait, Hillary's popping on right now. I didn't want to just like start because like this is your guys' team. You know what I mean? So I just want to like start word vomiting everywhere and getting into everything. So let's see.
There she is. There's Hill.
Here. What do you call that?
Can't see you hardly though.
Yeah, because I'm in my car. Sorry, picking up the kids, appointments, things like that.
You're fine. It's like 5 o'clock over there, so I totally get it. I was just waiting to see if you want me to just dive right into things, or I just didn't want to kind of start without you.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry. Yep. You can go. Dive right in, girl. Do what you do.
Alrighty, let's go ahead. I'm going to admit the last few people in the waiting room, and I'm just going to go ahead and mute everyone so that when we're recording, it comes through clearly on everything.
No.
Okie dokie. Can y'all hear me? Are we good to go? Yeah, okay, let's go ahead and get started. So, hi, hello, how are you? First off, my name is Katie, and, a little long story short, I have been within the network marketing industry for 4 years now, and, it's not our first rodeo, so you know what I mean? So, we've been doing this for quite some time and have definitely learned a lot of different tools and resources as to, kind of go against the grain as to what a lot of people think network marketing is. There's all these, there might be bad reps, or people think you need to do it a certain way, or maybe it doesn't work, that way. So when I say working within this industry and kind of going against the grain is different, it's been very different this past year than what I have been doing the previous 3 years, before that. So like I said, and I've been in the industry for 4 years. We're going to do a quick Q&A at the end because I'm going to go through quite a bit of notes, and it might seem like a lot at first, but these are some of the tools and the main tools that I use on a day-to-day basis. And I know we were focusing a lot into Instagram as to what Hillary and I were chatting about. So a lot into the Instagram world, it is totally different, than Facebook. But I will say a lot of these tools kind of blend through, like they just bleed into all of the different areas of social media. So I had learned this new little acronym from another network marketer within another company, still in the same industry, but she calls it FIT. It's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And basically a lot of these tools and just resources you can definitely apply to all three categories, as far as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, because you think of it, when you post video almost anywhere, if you shorten it up into a quick, the reels are huge on Instagram. It's basically like a duplication of TikTok. When you're looking at Facebook, you can always post that there. I'm always about, okay, how can I create a piece of content and where can I maximize on it, right? Where can I take the same piece and, work smarter, not harder, and then just duplicating it in different areas. That was one big thing that I've learned, across the board, is just sticking to the essentials and really, blasting it out into all different areas. So with diving deep, within the social media world, I've definitely learned a lot more within this past year. And, luckily between all of that and with business, we've been able to come home full time with network marketing for an entire year now. So let's go ahead and a few things that we're going to kind of be combating, and just because this is how I've been able to work my business. And I think this just goes straight across the board for network marketing in general, to where I say, we're working with attraction marketing instead of like, here's my sales pitch kind of deal, right? So how do we work? That's the new way of network marketing, I think. And then as well, it is also, just combating what everybody thinks in regards to this industry, the cold messaging, the mass adding, the mass inviting, like it's more so attracting rather than selling. And we're going to explain how they kind of blend together, where you want to make that connection piece, right? Network marketing, we're all about networking with people and making a connection and, really vibing with your target audience in regards to both product and business. And how do we make our content convert into that? So that's what we're going to be focusing on tonight is, content that converts and some things that you can apply within Instagram, but, all across the board, social media. So I want to ask you guys a few questions before we go ahead and get started. So please utilize the chat. Do you like, this is probably going to be obvious, but like, do you want to grow and help more people and then, resulting in making more sales, right? We're in network marketing, we're in, sales, you know what I mean? But, our main focus is growing, obviously, networking, helping more people with your product, your service, your business, right? And then, resulting in making sales. Yes, 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 yes. Would love to grow. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I'm here for it. Let's do it. So, second question I want to ask you is, when it comes to posting content, are you more focused on your stories, right? Because we have Instagram stories, we have Facebook stories, or do you focus a lot on your feed, or do you like to, or do you focus in both, right? Because they both serve a different purpose. That's why I ask. Focus equally, both, loving it, feed. Okay, I'm loving this. Okay, perfect. Getting better at stories. Yes. So the reason why I ask that is because your feed and your stories serve two different purposes. Your feed is what's going to help you grow and connect with new people. Your stories is kind of like where you nurture those people that have now found you, right? Now your friends on Facebook, or now your friends on Instagram. So your feed is going to be where growth happens. And then your stories are going to be where you like nurture that community that you have now created. That's where you really get to connect with them on a one-on-one level, and really just form that relationship. And then question number 3 is, have you ever told, I'm going to say, because I am so guilty of this, and this was like one of my holdbacks within this industry, was I can't show up until I have X amount of followers, or I only have 500 followers or 1,000 followers or friends, just swap out the word. Has anybody ever thought that within, just within the business? Like, I've been doing this for 4 years. Yes, the thought has crossed my mind. Okay. It totally has. To where it's kind of intimidating, where maybe you see a bigger account. Hey, if that's a no, more power to you. That's great. You know what I mean? See, okay, then this is great. We're on a great playing field. No. Okay, good, because it doesn't matter. Okay? So this is how I think of it. Where sometimes if we get wrapped up in the numbers game, to where it's like, whoa, I only have this, I only have that, to where I heard, if you ever heard of Angie Lee, she is, if you search her on Instagram, it's the Angie Lee Show. She has her own company with her brother, does her own marketing as far as like business wise, gives so much great value and great content, where, sometimes we get caught up in the numbers game where it's like, well, I only have this amount of followers, where you would rather have 100 dedicated people, not dedicated, 100 people that you truly connect with, that you have like interactions with, that you talk with, rather than 10,000 people and only 100 of them are like alive on social media. Not alive, like alive, but like they use social media is what I'm trying to say. Okay. But that's the moral of the story. And so let's go ahead and dive into, I already talked about how our growth is going to be within our feed, because content is king and consistency is queen. I heard that actually from, I believe it was Angie Lee as well. So don't be afraid to follow other people too, to learn from them on Instagram, where I always thought, you never have to get caught up in the game of like buying courses and all this stuff. There's so much free content out there, and people that are so willing to help, but content is king, consistency is queen. And to start messy, to where if it comes to a point where it's like, okay, maybe I'm not exactly where I want to be with my content. And we're going to touch into that as well, to how the idea of like what content you should be providing has totally shifted, in the sense of, and I don't mean this rude, like, here's a nice picture, it's all edited, it's like got a great preset on it, it's crystal clear, like I got a really nice outfit on, my hair's done, makeup's done, and like people double tap on it and they swipe through. Like, have you been guilty? Like, I've gone through Instagram where I'm scrolling through stuff, it doesn't like, I'm like, oh, pretty photo, like look really nice photo, I double tap it, but I don't read the message that goes along with it. Have you ever done that before? Yeah. Okay. So this is where there's been a total shift in regards to likable content, right? That's considered like a likable post, to where I'm like, okay, I have a bomb picture. So I got like 200 likes on it, but what did that do for providing them any value? What did that do for my business? What did that do in regards to showing them what I have to offer them to help them at the end of the day, right? Because we're here to provide some sort of service. And this isn't always going to be around sales and business, but how you can educate others. We're on platforms to where we're able to help so many people. And, our number one thing is to help educate. Another piece is also, to entertain, right? We're putting on, not so much like putting on a show, but, that's part of your personality, right? That you bring to the table, and that's how you vibe with people. I love what Hillary said. Think of it as one good friend as opposed to like 10 acquaintances. Exactly. I'd rather have one really good friend than like 10 when none, like 9 of them, God knows what's happening. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead in regards to, I want to touch into this as well. When we're talking about content, we're talking about social media, and we're talking about, showing up on a consistent basis. I wanted to touch into these two things because I've also seen this to be almost a confusion. And I had to grab a grasp on it, at first as well, where you think of, there's a very big difference in between like your brand to where your brand versus like aesthetics. Have you ever maybe looked at someone's profile and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so like aesthetically pleasing. Like, how do they get their colors all like that? How do they get their feed to look like that? Or you follow a certain grid, or you follow a certain something, and like the bio and like everything looks perfect. I don't know how to make mine like that. So that's aesthetics, right? To where branding is more so who you are, what you have to offer people, like your personality. It's who you're going, with your brand. It's also thinking of, who do you connect with, right? Your brand kind of branches off into a few different things. I'm sure you guys have heard of like different pillars within your business, right? Really narrowing down as to who you are speaking to, because let me tell you, with your product, right, you can reach so many different people, so many different, people with your product, so many different women, right? As far as like the product works for them, the business opportunities on the table, but who are you talking to specifically? And this is going to relate to content in regards to how to create it for your stories, for your feed content. It's going to relate to all of this. So your brand is really, kind of think of who would be like your perfect, like who is your best friend is almost like what I like to say, right? What is your best friend like? Who, like what, when we think of it, okay, let's break it down, male or female. Okay, what do they do? Do they work full-time, part-time, stay at home? Like what's their age range? What are their interests? Who is someone that you would vibe with, right? So that is going to really mold your brand as well, because it's going to narrow down who your target audience is. Because if we're trying to speak to everybody, at the end of the day, we're speaking to nobody. We're not speaking to a single person. And that is just through trial and error and through, the glory of business, where you learn that along the way. To where I know I, at one point in my business, was trying to help everybody. I'm like, here's my product. It can help everybody. You will, feel great. Or here's, you're talking to all the women in, the entire world, right? To where, how are we going to narrow this down to where you are speaking to the people that like vibe with you on a different level, that speak the same, by language. I don't mean like the English language. I mean by like speak the same as you, to where, I forget what it's called. I was reading a book about it, where it's almost like someone's love language, but it's just the way you speak. You know what I mean? Like what attracts those different people, right? To where I know I'm very out there. I'm crazy. I'm loud. I'm like obnoxious. To where like someone that is more maybe like, listen, dude, you need to like quiet down, because like I can't handle, like we're probably not gonna vibe, you know what I mean? But little do they know, I am like such an awkward turtle, to where this is why network marketing works great. Get to work from home, and like I'm on a screen, so when we're done, I'm like, I'm still by myself in my office. This is perfect. Like I love this life, you know what I mean? Not that I don't like people, but it just works so perfectly. So really narrow down on on your target audience, and that is also going to apply to people that you bring in to partner up with business. So if you haven't done that already, sitting down to really picking it apart, like I said, this actually relates back to Instagram, because Instagram Insights gives you a lot of that information in regards to like demographics and all that good stuff. So when it comes to brand versus aesthetic, what I have learned in the process is that aesthetics aren't like, yes, they're pretty to look at, but we're looking more for the valuable piece. I look at, a few different people that I look up to, and I look at their content. I'm like, they don't have, a specific grid that they follow to fill in their content. They don't have maybe it's not the most perfect clean picture. Maybe it's just like a video, and guess what? The phone fell and it got messy, and maybe it's blurry and, wasn't crystal clear, where you know, it's showing, but they still provide valuable content. I'm like, and I'm still watching it. I'm still sitting here looking at it. I'm still, you know, reading the caption that goes along with it. So think more so when it comes to when you're creating your content to just do it anyways, because we'll always get better at stuff, because like, let's just face it, social media is forever changing, forever and ever, amen, you know what I mean? So it's always going to be a learning process. There's never going to be a time where it's like, I nailed it on the dot, like I got it, like this is everything I need to know, and we just keep on stepping, you know what I mean? So with that being said, when it comes to posting, again, we want to formulate our brand, and your brand is who you are, the people that you're trying to reach, right? So with our content, how do we do that? So I learned this rule from a girl on social media. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you follow her. I have been doing a lot of connection with her in regards to social media for network marketing, and I've learned so much just from all the content that she provides, her lives that she does. She just provides so much good stuff. And I'm like, well, how did I not find you sooner? You know what I mean? So I'm going to type her name in the comments. But her name is Megan Harriman, and her name is spelled, it's Meagenharrini. I can't talk. There we go. Megan Harriman. And she has 2 social media, and this is all on Instagram. Social media. She just started a new account. She has both. But Megan Harriman and Social Media with Meg provides so much good stuff. I actually did a one-on-one with her last summer, and it brought so much clarity to where you may think that you're like, yes, I'm niching down. Yes, I'm like speaking to my audience. And then I got on a call with her, and she was like, honey, you are so broad. And I was like, oh my God, I thought I was doing it right, and I've been doing it wrong. You know what I mean? So to have that clarity piece come through, and she was asking me all these different questions, and she was like, when you're looking at your content, you know, are you providing some sort of value, or are you just posting a really pretty picture? Maybe you're holding your product and like nobody even cares. You know, I was like, well, that's some harsh reality, but that's just the way of the world. Where if someone's holding a product, I know I'm scrolling through, or if someone's just like, if it's a picture or maybe it doesn't catch my eye, think of what you're consuming. That's what your people are most likely consuming too, right? Is it videos? Do you get lost in the sauce on Reels? Do you get lost in the sauce on TikTok? Like, do you catch people's lives? And like, that's what catches your attention, right? So think about what you're consuming as to what you can then create too for your audience. But there was this rule that, not a rule, but a little breakdown as to how you want your content to be, that I had learned from Megan, was the 70-20-10 rule. 70-20-10. 70% of the time, you want to be educating and providing value for your target audience. 20% of the time, you want to be sharing personal stories, you know, things, you know, of ways that people get to know you on a, you know, on a one-on-one level. And then 10% of that time is when you're talking about your product and your business. Now, you might think that sounds crazy. You might think, Kate, we're in sales. Like, shouldn't that be the opposite way around? Shouldn't I be putting my product and my business, you know, more on the forefront and what I have to offer in that sense 70% of the time? But truth of the matter is, people don't want to be sold to anymore. You know what I mean? Where people, they don't want to just seem like a sale. And this just goes kind of back to the psychology of like the human brain, where, you know, I know as like me, right? And I'm sure a lot of us do as females, we buy almost out of emotion, right? We have some sort of purpose behind it. We have a feeling behind it, you know, but we need to want to make that decision in order to buy it. At least that's how I am, right? So I know that's how other people are as well. So where do I lead when it comes to content and talking in our stories and providing that value? That's where, again, I just want to run through it one more time, is 70% of the time we want to be educating and providing value. I'm going to give some examples too, just off the top of my head, when it comes to like Color Street and the product that you guys offer. 20% of the time you want to talk about, you know, your person, like you yourself, and, you know, things about you. And then 10% of the time is when you're going to introduce your product and your business. And this is on your feed. So with that being said, for example, where if your target audience, and let's say you are a stay-at-home mom, right? You've got 3 kids. I'm just like winging this, right? Stay-at-home mom, 3 kids. You need something that's easy and on the go. You know, you can get your nails done in 10 minutes at home. You don't have to spend the 2 hours at the salon, and you don't have to spend like the insane amount of money that it is to go get your nails done, right? So you are speaking to your stay-at-home moms, right? That, you know, have kids. They don't have time to be sitting there waiting for their nails to dry. They don't have time to be sitting there, going out to the store because, like, let's just face it, there's not enough hours in the day sometimes to go do all of that, right? And they just don't want to spend that extra money on themselves, right? Because that's kind of like a guilt thing, right? Like just real life out there, to where when you're creating, an educational piece, that is where you can include those different benefits, right? Of speaking to that target audience. That's why it's so important to know who you're speaking to, rather than just like, women around the world, you can do this. You know what I mean? They're like, so what? Cool, right? When you're talking to like that stay-at-home mom with 3 kids, she's like, oh my God, she's talking to me. She's talking like she's talking to me, right? Now they feel like an instant connection. I already mentioned following with Megan. So let me see. Okay, I think I kind of already covered this. I'm kind of going back and forth in between my notes, but the reason why it is so important is that, oh wait, that's why. Okay, there we go, Kate. I try to make notes, and I'm really bad. I'm a lot better at just winging it because my brain goes all over the place. You know what I mean? Like that ADD brain where I'm just like, oh, I already went through those 3 pages of notes because I was word vomiting. So that's just what happens. But so when it comes down to, okay, we know we're talking about the 70-20-10 rule, right? So we want to educate. We want to bring some personal value to the table about ourselves, right? So we can connect. And then we want to offer our product in our business, right? And like, that's where the sales piece comes in. So how do we do that? How do we even go about creating that content? A tool that I learned from Megan Harriman that has helped so much in regards to bringing clarity to content is breaking it down. I call it kind of like a T-chart, where you've got like your T-chart, right? Where you have customer on one side, you've got, your stylist on the other, right? So with that being said, she then broke down that T-chart into 3 different sections. So I should have kind of drawn this out. Let me draw it. Nope, can't draw it out on there. Can I draw it out on here? I kind of just I'm like such a visual person. I'm like, you need to show me what the heck you're talking about, Kate, because like I can't, right? So basically you would have like your customer. I don't even know if you can see that. You would have your customer at the top, your stylist at the bottom, and then you have 3 boxes underneath each one, right? That's just to give like a little visual. So the way that she broke it down as far as, okay, how can I start creating that content geared towards them? And how can I start showing up in my stories and creating that, which we are going to tap into as far as like different apps that I would highly recommend that are very user-friendly, very easy to use, and just take some playing around with. But first, when you're looking at speaking to your target audience for your customer, in that first box, like in that first line, just going straight across, what are 5 struggles that they have? What are 5 struggles / pain points, right? Do they, for example, do they struggle with, the idea of spending money on themselves? Do they struggle with, the idea of taking up too much time to go out and, pamper themselves to something, right? Do they struggle? And this is from a customer side. So this is like, we're talking product, right? And then we can also flip it over to business, and some of these might like bleed over from one side to the other, which is totally fine because you'll touch on these in different aspects. So we have 5 pain points / struggles at the top. And then we have in that middle, in those middle 2 boxes, 5 mindset blocks. And then the bottom 2 boxes, 5 goals, right? And maybe it's 3 to 5. I was just saying 5 just to make it easy, but you should have struggle / mindset, struggle / pain points, mindset blocks in the middle, goals at the bottom. And the reason why I thought this brought so much clarity because of the fact of, I felt like I was trying to be very, you never want to be very broad about a product, which can be easy, right? I could say our product helps everybody feel better, right? Or I could say I'm speaking to, the workaholic like I used to be, and then I can explain why it works from there. So instead of saying to where you guys can target so many different women like all over the world, right? As far as here's an easy manicure, really quick, really efficient, stays on for X amount of time, and it's at like literally like a third of the cost, right? But when you're speaking to your ideal customer, again, this is where branding comes into play. This is where knowing your demographic comes into play. So and I think back to my old self, and I challenge you to do the same thing for yourself. What was something that you were struggling with before you tried, before you tried Color Street? What was something that you were struggling with? Was it you wanted to get your nails done, but you didn't? What was it for you? That's the best way people are going to connect is with you. And this is where you're going to share your story through it. So think about that both from the product side, which is the customer side, and the business side, which is, you know, the opportunity on the table, correct? So with that, and then when you flip it over to the business side, you know, what were 5 struggles that you were facing before the business, right? And this could be like, I'll list off a few of mine, like personal. I was in debt. I was working 3 jobs and had 0 time, right? I was, you know, X, Y, and Z. So whatever that is for you, that's how your people are going to relate best, is because that's, I mean, you're here to tell your story and to connect with other women, right? So with that being said, that's where we're going to bring this out. Now, when it comes to mindset blocks, this is going to be, I relate this a lot to the business side. You know, what are some mindset blocks about the business that people have? A lot of people have a lot of mindset blocks when it comes to network marketing. Let's just shoot the facts, right? Where it's like, it's not going to work. This isn't real. I've never done it before. I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, you know, is this like all the different things that we can talk about, right? When it comes to a customer side, maybe some mindset blocks of maybe not thinking that the product actually works, which is like insert samples, right? This is where we get the product in people's hands, you know what I mean? And then, you know, different mindset blocks there. I really want you to connect with like your old self before trying the products and then before, you know, becoming a part of the business. And then when it comes to goals, you know, what are some goals that, you know, your old self, you know, before getting the product and your old self before starting the business, right? So maybe some goals were to, I mean, like, dude, this might sound like so corny, but like, I'm like, I like to have my nails done too. You know, it just makes me like, I'm like, ooh, like I can show my hands in my stories and not be like, don't mind my ratchet nails right now. You know what I mean? Like, it just like gives you a whole different vibe. I know, like when I get like, if it's getting nails done or using coloristry, I was just like, I feel like a whole let's attack the day, honey, I'm ready to go. Like, you can't tell me nothing right now, right? It's just like a different, almost like empowering feeling. And like, I'm sure a lot of other women feel that way when they have their nails done and when they look nice and, you know, saving that time and saving that money. That's their goal, right? So that is how you can share your different pieces of content. So how would you create your content from there? Like, this applies to talking stories in your talking videos in your stories and to your feed. So in regards to that, so let's pull, for example, let me pull some content really quick. Okay. So if there, you can kind of combine the two of them. You can point out their pain point, right? To where you're speaking into, you know, if there's, you know, I'm not a mom. I'm a mom of fur babies, right? I've got 2 fur babies. I don't have actual humans yet, right? So let's just say I'll relate it to fur babies, to where me doing my own nails at home, painting them, there's no way I can't. Like, that's not a thing. Because I have 2 dogs, I don't have the time to sit there and let them dry. So therefore, like, I'm not doing my nails at home. I don't have the time for it. I don't have time for the nail polish to dry, right? I'm like relating this back to the fact that, you know, your product, like there's no dry time, right? So we're going to connect those 2 pieces, right? I'm thinking back to the, you know, when they were puppies, there was no way I could leave the house for like 2.5, 3 hours. Like, we don't have time for that. They will run the house ransack, right? We don't have time. Right now, if you have actual children, just insert children, right? Can't leave them home alone. And sometimes I'm sure it's difficult to bring them with you, right? So saving that time, and then also the guilt was, you know, spending money on yourself, because, you know, going and get your nails done it's like, depending on where you are. I know when I was in Philly, it was like $60 to get your nails done. So it's not like, and that's like what, like 6 different sets within Color Street, right? And that's about how many weeks? Like, such a nerd, let's do all the math, right? So not only was I pointing out pain points, I was relating it back to my own story. And then I'm like, but I found a solution. So you're telling your story, you know, that's kind of, it's almost like, I don't want to call it like writing an essay in college, but you have, you know, where's the struggle, right? We're introducing like the struggling piece where a lot of people connect. And then we're sharing the story as to why. And then we're like, but hey, like, I found a solution to the problem, right? And that's what we're here to give to people, is, you know, giving that solution to that problem. So, which would be, you know, the product or the business. So you always are going to be relating back in some way, shape, or form. Maybe it's not in the sense of, I found the solution, here's my product, here's my link, right? And you never wanted to come off in that sense either. But with attraction marketing is also creating curiosity. So with ending, you know, just for example, with ending out that little caption of whatever I was just putting together, where it's, I don't have time to do my nails at home. I can't wait for the dry time. And then for me to go out to an actual nail salon takes too much time, and I already feel guilty about spending the money on it. So instead, you know, I found the solution that I'm going to throw out some facts without actually telling them that it's Color Street, right? I'm going to say I found something that works in literally less than 5 minutes. I don't have to wait for them to dry and I'm spending a third of the cost. Like, this fits my lifestyle, right? And without even inserting it. So then at that sense, where people are like, okay, so what are you, like, what is it that you're using then? Like, if you're not going to the salon, you're not painting your nails at home, like, what are you doing? I'm like, all right, let's have a conversation, right? That's where, like, it now from that piece of content, now we're going into the DMs, right? It gets down in the DMs. That's just what happens, right? You figure that's where, you know, a lot of your sales are happening. That's where a lot of your business connections are happening. That's where a lot of closing is happening, right? So always creating that curiosity instead of giving it away. Like, here's my link, go shop there, is, you know, just leaving them kind of with a cliffhanger. And that applies with, you know, our stories, and that applies with our content as well, is, you know, just, it's that piece of attraction marketing where you've caught their attention. Now they're interested. Now they're asking questions. Now you're giving the whole rundown, right? Behind the scenes, like in the messenger, whether it's on Instagram Messenger or Facebook Messenger, or if you're in a Facebook group and they are then going ahead and directly DMing you, right? And that's where all that happens. So with that, you know, obviously we are here to create content as to how can I help you versus like look at me content, right? So that's what I was touching on in the beginning in regards to, you know, creating that shareable content to where you think, where, has anybody ever used IG Reels yet? Y'all use Reels? Y'all on the gram using Reels? Do you watch them? You watch the Reels? Maybe. Yeah. Okay. So see, we watch them, not yet. If you're not in Reels, challenge yourself this week, especially since we're talking Instagram. We want to talk growth. We want to talk about, you know, reaching new people. I will say on social media right now, I want you to think of, you watch but not make, teach. Yes, dude, I think it's over on Megan's page too. I don't think I created one yet as far as a screen recording. Very easy. I thought it was so difficult in the beginning, and then I deleted the whole thing after I made it. I was like, Kate, you're losing your mind. Like, I literally spent an hour on that, and now I make them in like 5 minutes. So it's totally fine. Just don't do what Katie did and hit the X button after you've been working on it for the very first time and then delete it all. So yeah, Instagram is it's such a big animal, but I will tell you, video is the way of the world. Like, it took me, I guess, a hot second to realize that, but then I had to recognize, what was I consuming? Like, am I consuming just like, what's the word? Am I just consuming pictures? I'm like, no, I am looking at, exactly, right? So TikTok, that's all video. Instagram Reels is their newest feature. They are cranking Reels out like it's their job, I guess, right? That's their platform. But they are cranking out Instagram Reels, and I will tell you, it reaches a cold market without you sending the cold message. You know what I mean? It reaches a market past your actual Instagram itself, to where if I post a picture and it gets 50 likes, but then I post a reel and it gets 2,000 views, we just got, you know, 1,950 new eyes on content that wouldn't have been seen, you know, just because that is just the way that social media is pushing content more, is videos they're always at the top. You think if you go live on Facebook, you probably have more views than you did likes on your last post. And I don't say that rudely. I just think, you know, look at the numbers, right? Social media platforms crank out video way more than they do regular posts. Okay, and it takes growth. It takes consistency. Your number one thing, like, yes, we are always creating content, and that's why it's so important. Your content is king, aka we need to create it, right? Consistency is queen. And I've learned that so much, but I will say, taking the time to sit down and, you know, like, we do a thing called batch posting, right, within our team, to where we take 1 day a week and we sit down and we train as to how to batch your posts. Okay, so we work off the same T-chart I was telling you about, which was the customer versus promoter, with the 5 pain points, the 5 mindset blocks, and the 5 goals. From those, if you have 5 in each box, 5 times 6 equals 30. When you take 30 ideas and you tell 3 different stories off of each of them, that's 90 pieces of content right there. Boom. Guess what? You can rotate through that. Oh, I'm such a numbers nerd. Okay. You know, one thing about me, I'm a numbers nerd. I'm like, let's go. But you think that's almost 90 pieces of content right there. And guess what? someone's probably not going to like remember what you posted 90 days ago, so it's fine. You can repurpose. There's this great thing with repurposing content. And in regards to, you know, don't look so much at the number of views when it comes to, well, I posted one, I did all the things right, and like I only got, you know, X amount of views. All right, okay. So let's keep going so we can keep growing. So I am still providing more content. I'm still providing more value, you know, instead of, you know, 11's more, it's 11 more than 0, right? Let's look at it in that aspect. It's 11 more than 0, right? Rather than not posting it. You posted something, so that's good. I love to use it every day. Yes, different demographic, and that's totally fine. Everybody here will have a different one. Every single person here will have a different demographic. Instagram is a, you know, I will say with Reels, what I do for myself as well is I look at when I'm going through Reels, I gain inspiration from other people. And I'm like, oh my God, I can relate this back to my T-chart. Boom, I'll make my own. Are related to our product, how I can help this person within my demographic, right? And relate it in that sense. But some apps that I also use, I want to give you guys just like some few quick apps as to, you know, how do I create my stories sometimes. I do utilize, the best thing you can do is utilize what the app provides you with. The app loves when you use the things that they provide. So a few different things though. I do use two apps, and I found a new, whatchamacallit, what's that called? It's a website. There we go. So when we're thinking of Instagram, hashtags are heavy, right? On Instagram, you can search hashtags. Whereas like Facebook, it's like, we don't really care. On TikTok, I think like hashtags on TikTok, it wants you to use like 5 trending ones, to where Instagram, you can put up to 30. I'm like, max it out, baby, max it out. Let's use all 30, right? And keep this in mind too. Social media is a bunch of trial and error. You might take all these tools and utilize it to a post tomorrow and be like, what the heck? I didn't grow my social media. Like my friends list didn't increase. Nobody followed me. It's a work in progress, and it's trial and error. It is so trial and error as far as the time that you post, to the hashtags that you use, right? To even the content that you create, right? To see what your audience interacts with the most and what they vibe with the most, and what they interact with most is what I'm trying to say. It's all a bunch of trial and error. I know I'm still doing it myself, where I'm like, okay, let's get a time zone. Oh, you want to know a fun fact? Who here has when it comes to Instagram, if you want to get more reach, I will tell you flat out, you need your account to be public. It's very hard to find anybody on private. And I know, like, sometimes I've brought that up to people and they're like, well, I don't have certain things that I want, if it's a matter of, if you're here to grow you're here to grow your business, obviously, right? So if you have your stuff that is private, if you're using hashtags, your hashtags don't work. If your account is private, because they can't shoot it out to anyone because they can't see it from the outside. And B, we are here to grow. And I know for myself, when I'm going, like, if people send me a friend request and their account is private, I'm like, listen, I'm a little nosy over here. Okay. I want to see, like, what does your face look like? I want to see your pictures. Like, let's just face it. Like, I'm just a nosy, nosy Nancy. I don't know why I feel like I need to put together an acronym. I don't even know, but just think of it in that way too. I have a business one. Yeah. See, I have a creator one. And just because I feel like this, like, it was a false thing that was going around on social media where it's like, if you switch over to a business or creator account, like, it's going to ruin your algorithm. It doesn't do anything. Okay. I know for myself, like, I have the creator account. It allows me to, if you ever link, this is another tip. If you ever link anything from Instagram to Facebook, do not link your posts. Do not link your posts. Because there is this thing, because they are 2 different platforms. They want you to utilize their platforms. I just totally spit all over my laptop in case any of you saw that. That was great. I couldn't even, like, not acknowledge it either. I was like, that probably, like, the ring light probably caught it. You know what I mean? But you do not want your post linked up, only because of the fact that Instagram and Facebook want you using their platforms individually. And what happens is, if, let's say you make a post on Instagram and you're like, oh, share it over to Facebook. The only people it's going to share it with on Facebook and actually make it visible to are people that are friends with you on Facebook and on Instagram. So if you only have 5 people that are friends with you on Instagram and Facebook, like the same people, only those 5 people on Facebook are going to see your post. when it comes to it, you can still utilize the same piece of content, copy and paste, baby. Put it on Instagram, copy and paste it over to Facebook, or vice versa. You can do the same thing with a video, right? You would just save it to your camera roll when it comes to that. So I don't even think I touched on the apps yet, but hashtags, I was touching on the fact that you definitely want it to be a public page. I do love the insights that a creator or business account give. I believe it's the same insights all across the board. So in the insight section, there's actually so many different areas to where it breaks down your demographic of who's following you as to how many women versus men, what is their age range, where are they from? And then there's also a spot in it that gives you like, when are they the most active? I don't know if you've ever seen, I'm going to show you my phone really quick just to give you this. I found this out literally like a month ago, and I was like, I've been doing this wrong the entire time when it comes to what time to post on Instagram. I do not use a third-party app. Like, I don't use an outside app for it. I just use the insights that Instagram automatically gives us. So because it's based right out of the app, it's based upon the followers that I currently have and when they're most active. So if I go into the insights button and I click on my total followers, it's going to give you like all of these different numbers, all of these different things. Oh, there it is. There's those demographics. Okay. The age range, gender, and then where people are from within like cities around me or then countries. And then when I go down to the bottom, it gives me like most active time. Ooh, there we go. Most active times. Okay. Those times I just found out thanks to, the IG reels, and someone posted about it. Those times are in West Coast time. It does not matter where your phone is located. It does not matter what state you are located in. It does not matter what time zone you personally are in. Even though I'm East Coast, this is reading in West Coast. That's just how Instagram was made. So like for me, it says on Wednesdays, a peak time to post is at 6 p.m. That means it's 9 o'clock my time, right? So just a little fun fact in case you use the insights button as well for your business as to when your audience is most active. I think that is very important because let's say I'm posting and like nobody's even on the app right now that's following me. Like it's pointless because Instagram is not going to push it out because nobody's even on. You know what I mean? Because it's not your Instagram feed and your stories. Your stories show up on the top in the way of the people that you interact with most. So think about that next time you're going into the app. If you watch, do you watch, Jess's videos very often? Anytime she posts an IG, an Instagram story, you're always tapping on that. Hers is probably at the front of your stories because you watch hers very often. To where everyone else, when you go all the way down to the right, are your least watched people. Those are your least interacted with people in your following. Same thing happens with your feed, right? That's why it's so important to really narrow down on who your audience is and the value that you provide for them with, your knowledge, with your own experience, just in life in general, and how you can connect with a certain community of people and what you have to offer as product and business. Because when you create content in your stories and in your feed, it pushes it out to people that A, are online, B, interact with you most, and they want you interacting with someone's post as soon as it's pushed out. And that's just all behind the scenes algorithm. So 2 apps. So Instagram, hi, right? We're talking about Instagram, right? We want to have the app, right? So when it comes to creating stuff, when it comes to your stories, utilize features as much as possible. So what do I mean by that? I'm going to go into Instagram stories really quick just to show you. So when I'm in Instagram stories, how there's like all these different filters and all these different things, right? There's like all these different filters you can put on your face or whatever the case may be. I know I have, how many do I have? I have 5 saved because I used to use so many different, these are just like fun little branding tips. Stick to like 3 to 5 filters that you use on a daily basis and use those across the board. So there we go. We're already utilizing a Instagram, one of their things on their, whoa, we're not going to flip that camera around because, it just shows the office. I thought it was going to show up my nose. Okay. So you want to use the filters, right? That's utilizing what Instagram has to offer. Another thing you want to do is utilize what they offer in their stories, which when you click on the little smiley face up here, I have an iPhone, so it might like look different for Android users, but it's usually like a little smiley face sticky note. These are all the features that they offer in Instagram as far as, putting up polls, putting up question boxes, putting the little slidey happy face thing, right? Or putting a countdown on if you have like a launch that is happening soon, like you're counting down until that, you know, that new product launches, right? Adding music to it. When it comes to like when you're adding people, like, you know, like the little @ sticker where you're tagging people, and when it comes to if you include hashtags in on it, that I like to hide behind stuff because I never want to take away either from myself talking on the screen. I don't want it covering anything, or I don't want that being the main focus. Like, just for another example, if I was taking a video of this Zoom right now and I put everyone's names in the middle, they're gonna be like, what the heck's behind all of this, right? I don't want to take away the main focal point. Another, you know, other things you can utilize is location, the GIF bar, whatever you call it. I utilize that in almost every story. Instagram just really loves when you utilize the things that they offer right here in this whole section. The more the more you use their stuff, the more likely they are to push it out to your people, right? So those are some tips in regards to that. Now, I will say when it comes to maybe I'm talking about the business and I'm making some sort of storyline, or maybe, you know, there was a product launch and I want to put together some really cool slides for it. Or maybe I am posting like a morning gratitude post, right? And I want it to have a really nice background. One app that I have fallen in love with is Canva. If you guys don't know of Canva, there is a free version. And the free version offers so much. It's a blue app. And the really cool thing is that you can use it on your phone and you can use it on your laptop, and it pulls up the same info. So it's never like you have your info, like there's a different set of info on your laptop versus your phone. So Canva is very cool. It offers so many different free features. That's where I create a lot of my, like my cover photos almost for my posts on my feed. And wait for my phone to load really quick. But Canva is really great for graphics. Again, when you follow Megan Harriman, over on Instagram, she has so, like, I watch so many of her reels, and she gives like quick, like little tutorials on how to use the app. She offers so much info in regards to like the actual creation of your content and how to do so. But it gives you, you can use this almost anywhere. It gives you Instagram posts, like it gives you that, what's that called? I don't want to call it the metrics, but like the size of the post that you're looking to post. So it has like Instagram posts, Instagram story. There is stuff for like Facebook, for your Facebook cover photo, for your Facebook event, right? Maybe you're hosting an event and you're making a flyer for it, right? There's an actual Facebook post. My two main ones that I use are Instagram story and Instagram post. And yeah, so I'm gonna put her. Now these are her Instagram handles. So it's Meg. Let me see. MENGN. Right? Yes. Social media. She has two. She just created the social media with Meg, but I had like follow both, right? Who cares? You get doubling the amount of info. It's just better, right? So she is great. I've learned so much from her since last summer. I was like, it brought so much clarity. So Canva is one of I use it every single day, and you get so much in the free version. And another app that I came across, because if you are looking to see like, okay, well, how is it going to look on my feed, right? I downloaded this app called Unum. UNUM. There we go. This one's not quite too important. What I would focus most on, I would definitely dive into Megan's, the content she has to offer. All of her stuff is free. It's all on her social media. But pretty much everything that I shared with you tonight is like a lot of clarity that she had brought to myself when I had a one-on-one with her back in, it was June or July of last year. But that app Unum is going to, just show you a layout as to what it would appear like on your Instagram feed. And then when it comes to stories, everything applies. And like your stories, like I said, that's where you're going to make that connection. That's where like real life happens, right? Where I'm putting that piece of valuable content on my feed, right? For others to see, for others to share, for others to save, right? For later. Those are big features in Instagram, is making sure that, it's shareable content, it's valuable content, and people save it so they can go back to it later. Your stories is where like real life happens, right? This is where I'm probably waking up, right, and I haven't like put on my makeup yet, or I've got like one eyelash on, one eyelash, well, maybe not. I probably wouldn't do that because it would just look a little freaky. But that's where real life happens. This is where you bring people throughout your day. This is where you bring people behind the scenes of your day-to-day life, rather than just, you know, you never just want to be posting your product or just posting your business in your stories, but really connecting with people, being like, listen, like this is life. This is life with Katie. This is life with Kimberly. This is life with Tanya, with Michelle, Tammy, you know, everybody. Like this is what my day-to-day looks like, which could be what your morning routine looks like. You know, do you work full time? Are you like heading off to work now, right? Are you getting home and like with Hillary, where it's like picking up the kids, right? Now we're doing dinner or whatever the case may be. And like just bringing people throughout your day, because people are nosy. We already covered this before. There's a few of us that are nosy. We're like, what do you do with your life? Like, what is it like? Like, what are you eating for dinner? Like, did you drink? Like, it seems so random. And we might think that sometimes it's like, why the heck would they know, like, want to know what I have for dinner? Like, I don't know. Maybe they have no idea what to make for dinner. They need an idea, right? You know, things that we kind of sometimes surpass, where we're like, that doesn't really matter. It matters because that's what your people, like, that's what your people will want to see. That's what your people want to connect with you with. And then I think I said this earlier too, it's all about trial and error. And, you know, you will learn along the process, and social media is always, you know, a learning process. And to really take time with, you know, creating that T-chart for yourself, or really distinguishing who your target audience is from a customer and a promoter side, and just really getting nitty gritty with the details, to then now you know who you're speaking to, what content you're creating, and who it's going towards, and who you're, you know, you're trying to attract in that sense through attraction marketing. But yeah, I think that was everything I had. I think I went through my 5 pages of notes. That might have been a lot, but like Instagram and like the actual like IG reels, like there's all that stuff too. But did you want to open it up for like a Q&A session, Hillary, or before I hop over to, I have like 5 minutes until my next meeting. I should have talked quicker, but.
If you're running late for your next meeting, I mean, I don't know. Do you guys have any questions for her? Because questions may go for a while, but maybe if you want to take like 1 or 2 questions. And
I mean, if you guys have questions, like either like feel free to unmute yourself or like throw them in the chat. Like, you know, it's a lot of info to take in.
It was fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. It's just a lot of applying, to where, you know, I was saying to really sit down before thinking like, okay, now I need to push out a piece of content every single day, to when I sat down and I wrote everything out, I'm like, oh my God, this is so much more clearer now. Now I'm gaining inspiration from other people as to how can I make it geared towards my product, my business, you know, stuff like that.
Katie, I have a question.
Yeah.
I have always thought that it's best to put our link on our posts, only because I feel like our product is an impulse buy. Kind of like I relate it to, like, if you're in the grocery store or checkout and you have all those things that are right there, it's easy to pick them up and throw them in your cart. But like if there was a sign that said you have to go back to aisle 5 to get this gum, then you wouldn't. So is it not right to put your link on your posts?
I won't say that. I wouldn't say it's not right. I will say, for like algorithm wise, I think I'm gonna type this in the chat.
It should go in what we've always been taught, and Katie, you guys might be the same, is Facebook likes, and I don't know how Instagram is, but Facebook likes to hide your post if you put it in the actual, my kids are screaming. Facebook likes to hide it if you put it in the actual post itself.
Mm-hmm.
So putting it down in your comments, it won't do that.
Yeah, that's correct. From what I've learned, is that because it's a link bringing them to an outside source that's not within Facebook.
Exactly.
Now, if it was, you know, this is kind of just something how I like to run it, in the sense where if people want more info, or like I created a link tree that I put in my bio on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, right? So I have a link tree. What does that do? That gives them access to like I have trial forms for you guys. It'd be like your samples, right? If they want samples, right, of your product. I have a promoter form as to showing interest in the business. And I know it's stylist for you, right? Now with it, if it was an actual link and you wanted to include it in it, I would definitely put it in the comments, just like Hillary said, just because Facebook doesn't want links that brings them outside of Facebook. To where if it's a sale, I just know like personally, and you know, I don't want someone putting in an order the wrong way. Like God forbid, because I know you guys will offer like the buy 3 get your 4th one free. Am I like making that, or buy 2 get 1 right, buy 3 get 1? So I would hate for someone to go in and be like, well, I bought, you know, I put 3 in my cart. Where's my 4th one for free? Well, you didn't put in the 4th one. You messed up the order. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's my controlling side coming out, where I'm like, I'm gonna do it right for you. You know what I mean? Like I will say I put in every single customer order that I've ever had. And that's just the way that I run, you know, my business. And like you said, people are, and I totally get it. Some people are just like, let me do it on my own. Cool. There's the link, right? It's in my link tree, right? Yeah, Linktree is free too. Linktree is free, to where if you wanted to include multiple links, as far as like your link for the product, a link for, you know, how to become a stylist, and a link to, let's say you have a Facebook group, right? You can put all 3 in there. It's very easy, very user friendly. You can put it in every bio that you have. I thought there was, does it get stressful? How do you come up with tons of content? No, it was at first, because I had no idea what I was posting. I was stressed not knowing what to post. I was like, I feel like my brain is not working, and I have no idea what I'm talking to, who I'm talking to, and I have no idea what to create content about. But once, I will tell you, this is a very, like, I was told this in the very beginning of network marketing too. If you are not self-developing, like self-development wise, like reading new books, listening to podcasts, it will be very hard to create content. And I found that I was like, oh my God, it's right. Like when I feel inspired, I'm like, here we go. We just have like inspiration. Now I know what to create a piece about. I'm going to relate it back to my story, how it hits home to me. Right. And then I'm relating it to the business and the opportunity of it. Right. What opportunity is on the table. So if we, and this might've been from Jessie Lee. It might've been a Jessie Lee quote, to where she was saying, like, if you are not self-developing, you are not creating. And it's very hard to create content when we are not developing as, you know, as business women, as leaders, just as people in general, developing our mind. But I will say, when you sit down and, you know, really work through all of the, you know, that T chart that we were talking about, when you know, really targeting who you are speaking to, it makes it a lot simpler as far as creating the content to back it up.
Katie, where can I go to find out about Facebook and Instagram, all the ins and outs and stuff?
I will say the algorithm's always changing, just like point blank, to shoot it straight. Algorithm is always changing. So when it comes to Facebook or Instagram, I kind of do follow the leader with those that teach about it on social media. So a big thing, you know, I know for Facebook, it likes it when you post consistently, as far as like if you're posting 1 to 2 times a day, and wants you posting at the peak, you know, when your most friends are on. So how do you do that? You go into your Facebook Messenger. There's chats and people at the bottom. If you click on people, it shows you how many people are active at that moment, like have their phone in their hands and they're in the app. So like Facebook is different in that aspect, but the content piece behind it, they go one and one in the same, because you're still trying to provide the same value for each platform that you're on for the audience that you're speaking to. So I can't say that there's a specific place where, like, if you were to Google what's the best way to post on Facebook, or Google what's the best way to post on Instagram, it is, you know, the algorithm's just forever changing. So on Instagram, I highly, highly, highly suggest following Megan Harriman, MEAGEN HARRIMAN. Yes, that wasn't it. Yeah, okay. I think I spelled that right. Or her new account that she utilizes both is Social Media with Meg, all spelled out. She provides so much good content. And then basically what I do is I just blast it to all platforms, right? So I want to make sure if I'm creating a piece, I can maximize on it, and, you know, thinking smarter, not harder, and just duplicating it in different areas. So.
Hi, on Instagram, where do you find the insights? Because I'm I've got 50 followers, so it's not a lot, but
That's okay.
Where
You
would you
start
find it?
somewhere. It's 50 more than 0.
Mhm.
You have to have a business or you have to have a creator account. So if you have a personal account, it's very easy. There's only just a few clicks of a button to switch it over. Everyone has like the 3 line, like if you're in your profile and you have the 3 lines in the top right hand corner, you would click on that. You would click on settings. You would go to account, and I think it would say switch to professional account. It doesn't hurt your account from switching. It doesn't hurt anything. But yeah, that's where you would switch it over. The only difference is, I think the only difference with the creator and business account, a business account, if you wanted to link up your stories, you can link up your Instagram and Facebook stories, but never link up your posts. It has to be, if it's business, it has to be linked to a business Facebook page. Like I know I personally do not have one. So I just have a creator account, but they both give you insights. I will say with creating it for the very first time, it does take 7 days for it to generate information because it needs to just collect it over time. But then once it does appear, then you get like this big insights button right in the middle of your profile. And then it gives you a whole bunch of numbers, make my nerdy brain so happy. So.
And then I also use campsite bio on the Instagram for my contact tree. So.
Oh, okay. See, that works. I know there's multiple links out there. I feel like Linktree was the first thing I thought of. So I just went to it, and I have a few different things in there to where I use the same Linktree on every social media platform. So I have like all my ways to connect. I'm trying to pull mine up right now, but my phone's not loading. But yeah, it's just any free link, like a website to where you can plug in your links. I just found Linktree very user friendly, where I have trials, I have business, I have about, the company, I have about, like with linking it to my YouTube channel. Then I also have my TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. So no matter which like if they're finding it on TikTok, they can find me on my other 2 platforms. If they're finding me on Instagram, they can find me on Facebook and TikTok. And like same thing goes with Facebook. They can find me on Instagram and TikTok, right? So I just think I don't know, I'm so happy I finally finished that. That was something I was pushing off for so long because I had to like just sit down and do it. You know what I mean? But it's very user friendly.
I'll have to look into that. Campsite's not quite as user friendly.
Yeah. So with this, all I did was, I will say, I created some Google Doc forms. So then I took the links from that and I put it over in there. But like, let's say you have a link for your shopping website, right, on Linktree, then you pull up the Linktree thing on your computer. It'll say, okay, do you want to add a new website link? Okay, copy and paste your specific link, right, that leads back to you into this for purchase your buy 3 get 1 free, right? You copy and paste your link if they want the buy 2 get 1 free or buy 2 get 2 free, right? Then you can copy and paste the link in regards to becoming a stylist, right? You can title it, business opportunity, something like that. So when they click on it, it brings them straight to that link under you with the details. And yeah, just a few ideas.
I had a question. Because I have like a lot of things that I can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
How do you decide which one to actually focus on?
In regards to like telling your story, or in regards to like the content to create, or is that what you're talking about?
Like, I'm gonna give you some examples of what like I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a mom of a cancer survivor,
Mm-hmm.
which is a big part of and I'm making with Color Street, donating to certain causes is going to be huge to give back, because I've personally been involved with them and have had a lot of sorry, I froze.
Is it just my computer freezing? Hold on 1 second. So I'm so sorry. I don't mean to make it. I don't want to. I was picking up bits and pieces. I think she froze. Are you still?
Yep, I froze. I'm here. Sorry.
Okay. I was like, is it me? Like, are we all frozen? So I was picking up on bits and pieces that you were like laying down and like, okay, so what area do do you, focus into, right?
Yeah.
I think your personal story from the forefront, definitely, like, from what just you were saying, where, you're a stay-at-home mom, right? And so you can connect with moms that are like either that are stay-at-home moms, right? That's who you're connecting with. Now you were saying, right, was it a child, I think you were saying, or, right, you have a child is it your child that you said that was a cancer survivor, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So then you can connect with moms in that aspect as well, right? To where you can still speak into all of these different areas, because they kind of all fall under the same bubble, right? In regards to being a stay-at-home mom, what you have to offer from product side and how it can help them make it easy peasy like lemon squeezy, right? Doesn't interfere with anything else. How this relates then to the business opportunity side and what it gives you the opportunity to do in order to give back, and it then relates back to being a mom, right?
Okay.
And what you're able to do that is something that is bigger than just us ourselves that we're able to do with a business opportunity like that, for sure. So I say all of it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else have any questions? If not, that is totally fine. I will say, like, it is a lot of info, but I really challenge you guys to, hey, go follow Megan. I love the crap out of her. I love her brain. I'm all for a nerdy brain. Like, it's my vibe. And I just love learning new things. And like I said, that this is always going to be, social media is always going to be something that is forever changing, that we will adapt with, but our core value as to what we have to share with people, that will never change. If it's anything, it's the algorithm, you know what I mean, which we'll adapt to. But I challenge you to make it real too, even if it's like something fun or something funny, and just have fun with it. Just have fun with it. Like, video is like totally being pushed out more than just like pictures, but have fun with it, right? No problem. I'm so happy y'all popped out. Thank you for taking the time out of your day, your afternoon, night, whatever time it is, whatever time zone you're in. And like, this was really cool because like, I figured a lot of people would have been from West Coast or Central Time, and we got some like New Yorkers. I'm like, yo, you're 15 minutes down the road. Like, I see you. You know what I mean? So this was really cool. Like, thank you so much, Hillary. Like, my nerdy brain loves this stuff. Like, I'm here for this all day.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Very, 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 very much.
Yeah, and if you guys, we can go ahead and follow each other too. If you obviously roll over on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Catching Up with Katie. It's Katie with the CATIE. And that's, just gotta catch up. I'm like, sometimes I have to catch my breath because I talk so fast. But and if you can't find Megan's handles through there, like I was saying, that is who I stalk and praise when it comes to content. Well, she knows I stalk her, like we talk. It's not just like creepy stalker, you know what I mean? So, she is also like, you would just find her name right through the people that I am following. And yeah, so, well, I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Hillary, I know I recorded this. I know Jess recorded this. So you just let me know. It's going to convert over onto my laptop, and then I can, shoot it your way.
Awesome.
Or Jess has it, then you guys already have it.
That would be perfect. We will. I know the rest of the team that couldn't make it or whatever would love to have it. So thank you very, very much, and everyone that joined.
No problem, guys. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Katie. All right.